Hi, Deirdre Macnamara here from Letterkenny IT. Today we're going to take a look at number and number operations. Okay, so what we're going to look at during this presentation are the order in which you do certain actions within a calculation. Okay, so which part of a calculation should be performed first, and this is really important in industry. I see a lot of people making mistakes with this, so it's really important that you get this bit right. The next thing we're going to take a look at are using brackets and understanding why it's important to use those. We'll take a look at rules for addition and subtraction and making sure that you get the right sign against your answer for multiplication and for division. And then we'll finish off by looking at some mathematical symbols. Okay, so up at the top here we have a calculation. And you'll notice that it's got a number of brackets inside it. It's got a multiplication signs, it's got addition signs, and it's got division signs and brackets and positives and negatives. So it's really important that this is calculated in the correct order. So the first thing that needs to be done is anything that's in brackets. Then, if you have anything in here with a power, so for example to the power of 2 or to the power of 3, if it's squared or cubed or square rooted, all of those would need to be done next. The next thing that needs to be done is division. Oh, we have a division over here, so we might need to do that. Then we need to multiply, then we need to add, and then we need to subtract. So over here, there's an acronym here called BEDMAS, B for brackets, E for exponentiation, D for divide, M for multiply, A for addition, and S for subtraction, or BEDMAS. There's also BIRDMAS, and there's a number of BIMDAS and all sorts of other ones. Whatever one you learnt at school, that's fine. Your answer will work out the same, so don't worry. You can just carry on using that method. Okay, so let's see that in action. So the same formula is written up here. And we're going to follow the BEDMAS rule. So according to BEDMAS, it's B brackets. So we've got two sets of brackets. We've got these ones and we've got these ones. That's what we'll have to calculate first. So we firstly work out the brackets. Okay, so 4 plus 3 is 7. And we write out the 7 and we lose the brackets. And we write out the rest of it here. Multiply by 5 minus 3x multiplied by down here. That stays the same. Okay. The 8 has come from this bit here. So 7 plus 3 is 10. Minus 2 is 8. And that's where that 8 came from. And then we just wrote out the other bit. Okay. Next thing we do is exponentiation. Well, we haven't got any of those. So we'll move on. Division is next. D for division is next. Okay, we have one of those, this bit here. Okay, so it's going to be the 8 divided by the 4 is next. Okay, so 8 divided by 4, there are 2 4s in an 8, so 2 is your answer here. Okay, next thing it says to do is multiply. So we have two sets of those. We have the 7 multiplied by the 5, and we have the 3 multiplied by the 2. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, 7 5s are 35, 3 2s are 6. Next thing it says is addition. We don't have any addition, so we move to the next one, which is subtraction. So we'll do our subtraction last. 35 minus 6 is 29. So 29 is the answer to this sum. And we would have got a completely different answer if we'd done it in a different order. So it's really important that you follow the BEDMAS rule. Okay, oftentimes people make big mistakes when they're doing calculations because they don't really follow the brackets, and I just want to make sure that you can clearly see why we do stuff in brackets, because it forces people to do something before something else. So, sorry. So you have to do the bit in brackets first. So just looking at this very simple example here, we've got 3 plus 2 in brackets multiplied by 6. So with the BEDMAS rule, it says do the bit in the brackets first. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, we calculate that out. Then we multiply it by 6. So 5 multiplied by 6 gives us 30. And we get 30 as our answer. The same calculation over here, but without the brackets. And in this case, we'll do the multiplication first. So 2 multiplied by 6 gives us 12. 3 plus 12 is 15. And you can see we've ended up with a completely different answer because we had no brackets in this calculation here. So brackets are really, really important and you cannot ignore them. Okay, here are some exercises for you to practice, and wait before you click and out will come the answers when you do click. Okay, so again, just looking at the first one here, our Bedmas rule says do the stuff in the brackets first. So it's 2 plus 6. We add them up first, then we do the multiplication. So 2 plus 4 is 6, then do the multiplication. 3 6s are 18. Okay, and looking at the next one along then, 2 plus 6 needs to be done first, and that gives us 8. Okay, that's the brackets. We have no exponentiation. We do the division next. Okay, so 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. And then division, we have no multiplication. We do have addition, so we do the addition next. So 4 plus 5 equals 9. And likewise for the other exercises that are there. Here's the number line, and again, sometimes people find it useful to see this visually. So for example, I'm working out how things work. So 1, take away, for example, 3, you move in a negative direction. So 1, take away 3, 1, 2, gives you negative 2. Okay, so this is a system that you may have used in the school systems previously. So I just want to make sure that you know if one number has more than one sign against it, how do you know which of the signs to actually use? So in this one here, we'll just take a look, for example, at this number here. This number here. So when a number has 2 signs against it, the rule is 2 negatives makes a positive. So negative and negative here, the negative outside the bracket and the negative inside the bracket, there are 2 signs against this number. So when the signs are the same, or when you've got 2 negatives, it actually turns it into a positive. Okay, so another way of writing this is to say 3 plus 2 equals 5. So in this case here, there are 2 signs against the 5, there are 2 signs against the 4. Negative and negative makes positive, so we've positive 5 here. Negative and negative makes positive 4 here. So now we just have an ordinary looking sum. 5 plus 4 equals 9. Likewise, 2 positives makes a positive. So in this case, we've got positive and positive. So we end up with 3 positive 2 equals positive 5. Now, if the signs are different, then you get a negative. So in this case, we've got negative outside the bracket and positive inside the bracket. That's the same as negative 2. So positive 3, negative 2 equals 1, positive 1. And likewise, even if it's reversed, the positives on the outside and the negatives on the inside, the signs are different, so you end up with negative 2, which gives us 3 minus 2 equals 1. And you can just work out your answers here, and here are the answers. So when you're doing addition and subtraction, in this case we're doing 2 numbers, but looking at the numbers, for example, here, so when you've got 2 numbers, it says if the signs are different, then subtract the smaller from the bigger and take the sign of the bigger. So looking at this here, we've got positive 2, negative 5. 5 is bigger than 2, so our 5 is the big number. So you take the small number, which is the 2, from the big number. So 2 from 5 gives you 3. Okay. What's our answer? Is it positive or negative? Keep the sign of the bigger. So keep the sign of the big number, which is the 5. So your answer is negative, negative 3. In this case here, it's the other way around. Our 5 is still the big number. Our 2 is still the small number. So we take the small number, which is our 2, from the big number, which is our 5, which gives us 3. The answer is going to be the sign of the big number, which is the 5. And that's why we have positive 3 as our answer here. Okay, if the signs are the same, then you add the numbers and keep the sign. So negative 2, negative 5, add the 2 to the 5 and keep it negative. So 2 plus 5 is 7, your answer is -7 because both of those numbers were negative. If both of those numbers were positive, +2, +5, your answer is positive. And you can do some practice here. And here's some further practice. And the answers are already laid out for you there. Okay, when you're multiplying two numbers and the numbers have different signs against them, you need to know what your answer is going to be. So this is the same for division. Multiplication and division are the same. So a positive multiplied by a positive and your answer is positive. So this is like the ordinary tables in school. +2 multiplied by +2 gives you +4. Likewise, negative multiplied by negative, the signs are the same, so your answer is going to be positive. Okay, so -2 multiplied by -2, the signs are both the same, so your answer is positive. However, positive multiplied by negative, those two signs are different, then your answer is negative. So +2 multiplied by -2, those two signs are different, so your answer is negative. And the other way around is the same. So be aware of that. Okay, when you're looking at division, the first thing to be aware of is you cannot divide by 0. So 12 divided, the reason for this is 12 divided by 6 is 2, because 6 times 2 is 12. So you can work it the other way. However, 12 divided by 0 is something would mean that 0 times something is 12. So anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So that could never work out. There is nothing that multiplied by 0 gives you 12 as an answer. And so that's why you can never divide by 0. Okay? So 0 divided by anything is 0 is also true. So as we've said on the multiplication sign, positive divided by positive gives you positive. The signs are the same, so you keep it positive. The signs are the same. Negative divided by negative gives you positive. So -2 divided by -2 gives you +1. If the signs are different, your answer is negative, and it doesn't matter which way around that is. So multiplication or division are exactly the same. If the signs are the same, then your answer is positive. If the signs are different, then your answer is negative. Okay, and here's some examples for you to work on. There for you. There's the answers there and there. Okay, the last thing to look at are some mathematical symbols. We've got the less than symbol. You've probably seen that in school. Okay, something is less than something else. It starts, if you can't remember which way around these go, the way I learned it at school was the less than symbol begins with the small bit. And then with a little line underneath it, it means less than or equal to. This is the greater than symbol. It starts with the very big bit, the wide mouth over here. And greater than or equal to has a little line underneath it. This is the not equal to. Something does not equal to something else. And this is, it's fairly closely equal to something else, or approximately equal to. And this is the symbol for sum of, or add together. Okay, that's the end of this lecture.